Hey everyone, Tom Parks from Annex Wealth Management, joined by Hanneman from Briesen and Roper.
Hi, Tom.
Thank you for coming. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big topic these days. It's on everyone's mind. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. Why is this issue an important one for employers?
I think most employers are challenged with opportunities that exist within their organization, both internally and externally, to diversify their internal complement and also focus on customer needs where they may serve a diverse community.
Okay, so you've got, from a sales perspective, trying to get people to do business with you, because every organization, even law firms and all the others, are at some, on some level a sales organization. So selling to the people who are looking to either buy your products or services, people are looking at that, so there's an advantage there. From a legal perspective, you're an attorney, an employment attorney. Are there any specific considerations people that employers should have when they're examining this issue?
Certainly. And as we talked earlier, Tom, this is not an issue that's a one-size-fits-all. What might be appropriate for one organization in terms of development of policies and training programs may not be appropriate for another. So employers are really challenged with the task of figuring out what makes most sense for their business. And as you know, there are a number of studies that point to profitability advantages to diverse companies that really have excelled both internally with retention of employees and excel at externally, as you said, increased sales.
Okay, so then what advice do you have for employers if they're looking at policies that are in writing? What can you tell people that they should maybe some highlights think about in that regard?
Certainly, you want to make sure that your policies integrate well. If you are adopting a vision or mission that includes diversity and inclusion as well as equity, you want to communicate that value effectively with all your employees and develop policies that strengthen your team as well as looking at how they advance your business value at the end of the day.
Okay, so there was I saw an article about the CEO of a major financial institution who caught some flack for suggesting that, there's an attempt to increase diversity. But he was saying that they were having some trouble finding enough people to fill positions. What do you have to say for people who say, well, I'm trying, but I'm not finding the people?
And I think when we look at diversity, equity, and inclusion as a whole, we're not just focused on numbers. This isn't a quota, for example, that individual companies need to fulfill. However, looking at this issue broadly and developing an environment that enhances retention and cultivation of diverse employees will be a valuable endeavor. And employers need to think outside the box in approaching these issues. All employers can look at their recruitment strategies and consider alternatives. And there may be organizations to partner with. Okay. There may be an approach that is looking at a more expansive skill set for that candidate. So there are ways in which companies can examine those strategies to enhance recruitment efforts in that way.
Okay, I like that. I like the partnering with other organizations. I serve on the board of HPGM, and so a little shameless plug for that organization. But that's one of the things that we aim to do for people in the Latino community. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. I think that makes a lot of sense. So you've got a virtual breakfast. Obviously, this topic, like all the ones that we talk about, we can go on forever and ever about because they can get really complicated. But you have a virtual breakfast on October 20th. Can you tell us a little bit about that real quick before we wrap up?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about companies developing diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and programs, and talk about some legal implications of adopting specific policies and looking at alternatives that may be appropriate given the size and desires of each company.
Fantastic. All right. So that is virtual breakfast coming on October 20th, 2020. Where can they find out about it?
On our website, on the events page at vonbriesen.com.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks.